You are watching WISC TV3, Madison. Join Joe Champ, Katie Sy, and meteorologist Gary Canalti. This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. In the news today, the vicious attack in the Columbia Correctional Center takes another life. Jesse Anderson is dead. We'll have a live report.
Bosnia's future could hinge on a visit by the head of the UN.
Where are Wisconsin schools headed? Our guest says we should be careful.
But first, Gary Canalti here with an update on the forecast. Gary?
Now, the sunshine's return, temperatures will be a little warmer today, and they'll be downright mild for tomorrow and Friday. Right now, our temperature stands at 34 degrees with sunny skies. I'll take a look at a mild forecast when we come back.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Thanks a lot, Gary. As we said, convicted murderer Jesse Anderson is dead.
Anderson was critically injured when he and Jeffrey Dahmer were attacked at a Columbia Correctional Institution Monday. News 3's Rob Starbuck joins us now live from UW Hospital and Clinics. Good afternoon, Rob.
Hi, Katie and Joe. The incident of Monday at Columbia Prison, now a double homicide. First, Jeffrey Dahmer, and now Jesse Anderson. Anderson, we learned, died this morning shortly after 10 o'clock. He'd been in critical condition since Monday morning. Anderson and Dahmer were cleaning a bathroom at Columbia Correctional Institution Monday when they were attacked and beaten. Dahmer was pronounced dead at a Portage hospital shortly after the attack. Earlier, a private investigator who worked with Anderson was told by family here this morning that Jesse Anderson was brain dead. Anderson was serving a life sentence at Columbia for killing his wife in a restaurant parking lot back in April of 1992. He blamed two black men for the attack. We understand from family that Anderson will be buried alongside his father in Illinois. Now, in the Dahmer affair, inmate Christopher Scarver is a suspect in the Dahmer attack. Scarver is serving a life term for murder at Columbia. Details yet to be released if Scarver is related to the Anderson attack. The investigation of the murder scene all day yesterday being done by Columbia County detectives. They were at the prison site all day Tuesday. They may disclose details of their probe at a news conference later today. Joe and Katie?
All right, Rob Starbuck reporting live from UW Hospital. Thanks.
Thanks, Rob. James Montella, a Cazenovia man questioned in the murder of Cora Jones, has been released on bail in Richland County. The 41-year-old man still faces a felony charge of altering the vehicle identification number of his van. Authorities released the man after David Spanbauer confessed to the Jones murder. The Cazenovia man served a 12-year prison sentence for the murder of a 14-year-old Bayfield County girl. He was released in 1984. Authorities considered him a suspect and arrested him when they discovered he had changed the ID number. One police officer is dead, two others hurt after a pair of squad cars collided at a Milwaukee intersection this morning. A 27-year-old officer was killed in the accident on the city's west side. Two other officers are in satisfactory condition. A small school bus crashed into the squads after they collided. The driver, the only person on the bus, was not seriously injured.
Researchers at the Medical College of Wisconsin are testing a new technique that might improve the chances of detecting breast cancer. The technique is experimental and injects a radioactive tracer that collects on cancerous tissue and then lights up tumors. It could improve the accuracy of diagnosing breast cancer before surgery. There's word now that some Americans were on board a cruise ship that's burning off the coast of Somalia. Apparently, a handful of Americans are part of the crew of the Achille Lauro. 3 people are reported dead. At least 8 others are hurt. The rest of the nearly 1,000 people on board got off safely. The ship has made news before. Back in 1985, terrorists hijacked the Achille Lauro and killed a disabled American passenger. The fate of the international humanitarian mission in Bosnia could rest on the outcome of a trip to Sarajevo by the head of the UN.
Mark Phillips is in the Bosnian capital today with more on the war and efforts to end it.
UN Secretary General Boutros Boutros-Ghali arrived here this morning on a desperate mission, not just to try to revive a gravely ill peace process, but with the entire UN effort here in apparent terminal decline. In fact, he arrived here not to cajole, but to threaten. If the fighting doesn't stop, not just around the besieged town of Bihac, but everywhere, then the UN will withdraw. It's a desperate gamble for desperate times. and one he began with the statement indicating more optimism than realism.
An optimist. I hope that we will create a new momentum in favor of a ceasefire in the Hajj.
And despite Boutros-Ghali's optimism, there's not much hope here that the visit will break the deadlock.
Today is the Hajj in order, tomorrow will be Sarajevo. I think Sarajevo next. Safe zone. What's that? Nothing.
I think Mr. Ghali, no, not a good name. I saw him. Unfortunately, but it's true.
To the Bosnians, Boutros-Ghali has become the personification of UN impotence here. He comes here at a time when the UN's prestige is as low as it's ever been. Ineffective as a protector, paralyzed as a peacemaker, and divided from within over what to do about it. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Sarajevo.
UN Secretary General Boutros Ghali has left Sarajevo after failing to get the Muslim-led government to accept a truce proposal. Bosnian Serbs refused even to meet with him. Senate debate is now underway on GATT. Opponents of the trade deal say the U.S. is on the verge of repeating a big mistake. They say the agreement would mean the collapse of the U.S. economy as industrial jobs are replaced by service sector positions. But supporters insist it'll create jobs and that GATT is essential to the country's economic future. The House approved the measure yesterday. After 30 years in the House, Speaker Tom Foley presided over the chamber for a final time last night. His colleagues gave him a standing ovation and approved a resolution thanking him for his years of service. Foley permitted Minority Leader Bob Michael to take the Speaker's chair. Michael served 40 years without ever being in the majority and is retiring at the end of the year.
Continued improvement today for former Vice President Dan Quayle, who was hospitalized Monday in Indianapolis after complaining of progressive shortness of breath. He's being treated for a blood clot in his lung. Doctors predict a full recovery for Quayle, although they are not sure how long it will take. But Quayle is expected to be out of the hospital in about a week. Lottery machines around the state are humming today. Everyone is taking a crack at winning the Powerball jackpot. It's the second largest pot ever at $95 million. Regular Powerball players are plunking down $5 to $10 instead of just 1 or 2. The odds of winning, just about 1 in 55 million.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Carrie Canalte's in next with the forecast.
And unless you're hoping for snow and cold, we think you'll like it.
You're watching News 3 at noon on WISC TV3.
The sun's out and it's not so bad.
No, temperatures are not bad today, although it is kind of breezy. There is a chill in the air. By tomorrow, it'll seem quite balmy with temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. Right now, our statistics show that we saw a low this morning of 22. Our high temperature is the current reading of 35. That's the reading at the airport, 34 here at Channel 3 with southwesterly winds at 12. That gives us a wind chill factor of 21 degrees. Satellite view over the last 24 hours across the Midwest shows the low clouds that we had yesterday breaking up during the overnight hours. And then you can see this one little bank of clouds coming through this morning, pushing off to the east. And we'll see partly to mostly sunny skies for the rest of today and most of the day tomorrow. Current temperatures show a wide contrast across the Midwest, with temperatures still in the teens across central Minnesota. But look what happens on the western slopes or eastern slopes of the Rockies. With strong westerly winds flowing down, temperatures warm up dramatically to the 40s and 50s, and they'll see very mild temperatures there the next couple of days. As we look at the view across the country, high pressure is starting to build into most of the nation. However, as the high sits to the south, and we see the strong jet stream in the north, that's where all the gusty winds are occurring. We're also watching a big storm system develop in the Pacific Northwest. Over the next couple of days, the jet stream will buckle out toward the west, rise a little bit here in the Midwest. That will allow mild air to flow eastward across the country. But we'll have to watch this storm system because it may buckle the jet stream further by the early part of next week and develop a big storm system that would ride that west to east jet stream into the Midwest by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Nothing like that in the immediate future, though. Most of the country dry with the exception of the Pacific Northwest, which is getting hammered by a strong storm system. You can see the cold front swinging on shore here. And notice the isobar is very tightly packed, indicating a lot of wind across the northwestern part of the country. The satellite view here shows cold air diving down the west coast. One storm system moving in, another one developing downstream. We're going to see a series of weather systems bringing heavy mountain snows and lots of rain along the coast. Low temperatures tonight across the Midwest will be in the upper 20s, but look at these highs for tomorrow. We'll be up close to 50 degrees with 50s and 60s not too far to the south and west. Tomorrow's forecast map shows brisk southerly winds moving into southern Wisconsin. We'll see temperatures around 49 for a high here, and we should crack the 50-degree mark on Friday, although this weather system to the west will bring us some showers on Saturday, and then the series of cold fronts will cool us off as we head through the weekend. Our forecast for this afternoon calls for partly sunny skies. It'll be rather breezy. Our high temperature, though, not quite as cold at 39 degrees. Tonight we'll see partly cloudy skies and a pleasant overnight low temperature of 28 degrees. Tomorrow will be partly sunny, windy, and warmer. We have that high temperature, 49 degrees. That's more than 10 degrees above normal. The extended forecast calls for a high of 52 on Friday, although showers on Saturday will cool us down some, and then another cold front will give us a chance for rain or snow showers on Sunday. It would be the middle part of next week. We'd have to watch for a storm system across the Midwest, and after that, it looks like it'll turn sharply colder. So get your outdoor activities done this week. Be a good time to do it.
Maybe we'll get some snow that'll, just kind of
If we get some snow by the middle of next week, it'll stick around, at least according to our long-range computer models.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Okay, Gary. Mr. Food is in next with his best food buys of the week.
He'll save you some money.
This time of year, our best food buys have to be quick and simple, too. Well, we're so busy.
Stocks are higher today following a stronger than expected upward revision of the third quarter gross domestic product. The Dow is up 12 points at 3751. The NASDAQ Composite Index is up almost 2 at 753. In the ag markets today, Wisconsin direct hog market barrels and gilts. The trend is 52 cents to $1 lower at 25 to 27. South trend is steady, 13 to 17.50. In the Milwaukee cattle market, heifers 59 to 63, cutter cows 36 to 40, and feeder heifers 1 to 240. In the Chicago Merc, choice steers are down 43 in December, off 55 in February. Live hogs down 72 in December, off 53 in February at 34.22. And feeder steers are down 27 in January, off 40 in March. In the Chicago Board of Trade, corn is mixed, improved 3/4 of a cent in December, off a quarter penny in March. Wheat is down 3.5 in December, off 3 1/4 in March. And soybeans off 4.5 in January, down 4 3/4 in March. In the cash grains, corn is unchanged in Milwaukee, up a penny in Dubuque. Soybeans are off 2 cents in Milwaukee, down a nickel in Dubuque, and no egg market today.
Too hectic for the chickens. In fact, Mr. Food says it is such a hectic time of the year, it's hard to get quality food on the table. Here he is with some help.
It's best food buys of the week, and the sales in the market seem to be bigger than usual in every department. But with our holiday running and shopping and planning, we're eating on the run. We need fast and simple, okay? Here's simple. Frozen veggies, lots of sales, and as simple as just boiling, a little butter, salt, pepper, done. There are already trimmed fresh veggies that work the same way, and coleslaw and salad are ready to use too. And the quality of frozen and pre-cut is the same as fresh. Now, a bit more money than whole, but when we're in a hurry, Super Saver also in frozen. Juices. And for more nourishment, we can reconstitute those juices with milk instead of water. It's usually 3 cans of milk to 1 can of juice. Mix it up well, and it's what the kids are calling moo juicers. Any kind of milk, from regular down to skim, and any kind of juice. Orange, apple, grape, punch. I mean, they love the fun and the variety, and so do we. There's a sale on some brand of barbecue sauce every week. Just pick up a bottle and watch. Over your chicken, pour your barbecue sauce, and bake it like you would normally an hour, hour and a half. Can't be easier. That was probably the first instant chicken cooking sauce ever. Still full flavor and favorite flavor. Oh, pasta. I mean, what's faster than that? We want fast. We want sales. We want, it's so good.
Where's education headed in the state of Wisconsin? When we come back, we'll be joined by an expert who says we better be careful.
But first, it seems much longer, but just 1 year ago, the Badger football team took off for Japan to play Michigan State in the Tokyo Bowl. The Badgers won that game 41-20 and eventually ended up winning the Rose Bowl. Gambari Bajazu, that's Japanese for Go Badgers.
Less is more. At least that's what voters seem to be saying in the recent election. Less government, less waste. It's the same principle the Governor's Save Commission was founded on. But what exactly is the Save Commission? I'm News 3's Roger Putnam. Join me as I take a look at the Save Commission in Waste Watchers, a special series tonight, only on News 3 at 10.
WISC TV3, in touch with Wisconsin.
It is always impressive to see how Wisconsin students rank in the country when it comes to standardized national tests. We always seem to be battling with Minnesota and Iowa at the top of the heap. But will that last forever? Is the quality of education slipping here in the state? We hear it all the time. Here to throw some facts at the sometimes uninformed debate is Professor Michael Apple of the UW in the Education Department. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, John.
Looking back, I mean, how Wisconsin does have a pretty good education system, right?
Wisconsin has one of the best education systems, not only in the country, but probably in the world. Though it's in danger right now, and it's in danger less from downturns in achievement scores and more from, I think, attacks on its funding, attacks on its curriculum, attacks on its students, and perhaps even attacks on its very nature as a public institution.
If it is so successful, why the, as you call them, attacks? Why would someone want to change this?
Well, I think one of the problems is that by and large, we've got a situation throughout the United States and in other countries where education is being blamed for all social problems in the world. An example would be the claim is that if there's unemployment, it's the problem of the schools, that teachers aren't well prepared enough, there's not enough discipline, etc. If there's a downturn in family values, we tend to blame the schools. So part of the problem, I think, is what might be called exporting the blame. We see a social problem, and we dump it on an institution that actually is working relatively well in this state.
Okay. Let's talk about one of those changes that are out there. People are talking about taking schools off the property taxes to the tune of, what, $1.2 billion. Does that alarm you at all?
It alarms me a good deal. In some ways, I'm in favor of it in other ways. First of all, the property tax is not a wise tax by and large. There's no doubt that people who own farms or people who own houses or unlimited incomes have a good deal of difficulty paying the property tax. But one of the things about the property tax that is partly progressive is it partly forces institutions such as large corporations to at least pay some taxes.
Okay.
The corporate tax rate over schools has fallen massively over the last 10 to 15 years in the United States, and the burden has been shifted to homeowners, to renters, etc.
Some people have mentioned shifting it over to a sales tax, but you don't think that's exactly it?
No, I think that would be retrogressive. We know that the sales tax actually costs more in percentage of income to the poorest people, to middle-class folks, and to working-class folks.
What would work best if you were
I think some combination, a more progressive income tax. We have moved away from progressivity, and I think we have to return to that. Some maintenance of a property tax to guarantee that large businesses, for instance, pay some of their fair share. But I would be opposed, I think, to an increase in the sales tax itself.
Another issue out there is the idea of a voucher system. You give parents $2,000, $3,000, they can go to wherever they want to get their kids' education. What do you think of that?
Well, I'll be very honest and very blunt. I think it's a formula for what might be called, not just metaphorically, educational apartheid. Right now, we have parents in many cities, for instance, moving in white flight out of the cities, out of fear, out of a good number of issues that they raise. And I think once people move their children out of public schools, and remember, the public school is a very vast experiment in the United States. That's one of the last institutions that the public actually has a say in. Once people move outside the public schools, I think they'll refuse to pay taxes for them. And that will leave underfunded, declining schools in urban areas and affluent schools in affluent areas.
Won't the kids in the urban areas, though, go to where those great schools are?
Well, there's no transportation. At the same time, what's happening is we're massively cutting other public services. So subsidies for buses, for instance, subsidies for health care, subsidies for housing. We're even talking about cutting food stamps. So at the same time as we would say, well, people in these areas will then move to better schools in the suburbs, the way of getting there will be invisible.
All right, UW Professor Michael Apple. Of course, we need another 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to have you back. Maybe we'll have you back out again.
It'd be a pleasure.
Thanks a lot for coming out and sharing that with us. Coming up, it's hard enough to be big, but imagine if you're a pig with a weight problem. We'll tell you about that when we come back. Recapping this afternoon's top stories, Jesse Anderson is dead. He was critically hurt when he and Jeffrey Dahmer were attacked at the Columbia prison Monday. Anderson died shortly after 10 this morning at University Hospital in Madison. Anderson was serving time for murdering his wife.
And the Italian cruise ship Achille Lauro continues to burn off the coast of Somalia. Nearly all the 1,000 aboard escaped in lifeboats. However, 3 people are reported dead. At least 3 ships are at the scene helping out. Coming up today on Live at 5, this week's Wednesday's Child and the annual presentation of the holiday classic, A Christmas Carol.
At 6, more jobs could be coming to the Whitewater area. Plans for a multi-million-dollar power plant are underway. We'll tell you what the plant will mean to the community. And a 35-foot tree will be delivered to the Madison Arts Center to be part of an exhibit. We'll take you there.
Finally, today, a robust pot-bellied pig has made national headlines with her quest to become more fit and trim. Pinky Starlight is her name. She was taken away from her owner, grotesquely overweight. Her belly scraped the ground and folds of fat stifled her vision. Her owner was cited with animal cruelty, and Pinky was taken to a boarding stable and put on a diet. She's already lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks on a low-protein, high-fiber diet and a strict exercise regimen in an indoor arena. She's still pretty piggy.
We'll become a diet. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
25 pounds in 3 weeks is astounding.
It's amazing.
Gary? I don't know how I can top that. This afternoon, we're looking at a mostly sunny forecast. Our high temperature getting up to a pleasant 39 degrees. I'm just ignoring these guys. And looks like we'll see milder weather for tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah, up into the mid-40s.
Upper 40s for tomorrow and low 50s for Friday.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
This is a WISC editorial with editorial director Neil Heinen.
Warning, property tax relief in danger. Proceed with caution. It may be premature, but the rumbling at the state capitol is everything we were afraid of. Republican Senator Mike Ellis says the notion of delaying for 1 year a $1 billion transfer of school funding off the property tax should be on the table for discussion. No, it shouldn't. Not if recent legislation and the latest round of election promises are to have one shred of credibility. And exactly what is Senator Ellis saying about his party's governor's pledge to replace the school funding without other taxes? He's saying it can't be done. That's what he's saying. Governor Thompson, to his credit, we think, is at least sticking to his guns. Ellis wants to give us the usual wait until next year and then we'll reduce your property taxes. Nonsense we've heard for decades. Isn't that convenient? Just before the next election. Listening to State Representative Ben Bransel, we're optimistic cooler heads may prevail. But let this be a warning. That property tax relief promise, the one you insisted on, voted on, demanded, they're tinkering with it again.
WISC welcomes your comments. Send them to editorial director, Box 44965, Madison, Wisconsin.